Let's move on to paper 3, data analysis and website authoring. So in this paper, you'll be tested on HTML and spreadsheet. So we are continuing the March 2016 paper. It is for 2.5 hours. As usual, we should really read the instructions before we start our exam. Write your name, center number, and candidate number in the spaces at the top of this page, here, right here. Write in dark blue and black pen. As I mentioned in paper 2, some of my students write in pencil, which I don't understand why. Do not use staples, paper clips, glue, or correction fluid. Just don't bring them into the examination hall. Do not write in any barcodes, like here. Carry out all instructions in each tab. You can track your progress through the examination by crossing out each question number. Now, I cannot stress this enough. This step, or rather this instruction, is to help you. You bring in your pen, and whenever you finish each step, just cross it or mark it with some symbol. And when you go through it again, you know that you have completed it. And if you go through a second time, you can give it another symbol. So you know for sure that you have not missed anything. Enter your name, center number, and candidate number on every printout before it is sent to the printer. Printouts with handwritten candidate details on will not be marked. Now, this is, in my opinion, the most important instruction. Some students, because of time constraint, they will just forget to print out, and then when there's no time, they write their details on the paper. As it says here, it will not be marked. Or if you miss something, right, it will not be marked as well. At the end of the examination, put this question paper and all your printouts into the assessment record folder. If you produce rough copies of printout, put a neat cross through each one and just hand everything back to the invigilator. The number of marks is given at the end of each question, and write the date here. With that, let's move on to the exam. All right, let's start. Task 1, Evidence Document 1. Open the file. Make sure your name, center number, and candidate number will appear on every page of the evidence document by placing these details in the header. Save this as a word process document in your work area with the file name this. For example, you need to place screenshots and answers to questions in this evidence document. All right, as usual, we should read all the task, the entire task, before starting. All right, this is a short one, so let's get started. So M16 Evidence RTF. So this is what you do. You open with LibreOffice. And the first thing you want to do is to save, as I mentioned before, in the software format of the software that you are using. So in this case, ODT. And it says that we should name it as 9999. So let's have a look. So M16 9999. Okay, ODT. Okay, in this folder. Okay, save. And you're done. Then enter your name, center number, and candidate number. It appears on every page in the header. So you can do this. So first, we want to reduce. You can see the whole document. And then we can just insert header and footer, header, default page style. You can scroll up and just type Cambridge, your name, prep, CP001 and 9999. And then click out and Command S. Now, because you have already saved it in the file name and the file type, you can just press Command S, or you can just save, Command S. And you can just scroll down to see that your name appears on every page. Okay, there are 2 pages and it appears. So that is done. So this is where you place all the screenshots, as you can see here, and we have completed this task. And once we have completed everything, we should really, as I mentioned, check that this is done, check that this is done, and save it in my work area, and this is done. With that, we have completed the introduction and task 1. Task 2, web page. You work for Hothouse Design and will develop web pages for Ken Salim properties in Goa. Many of the people who will view the web page have very slow internet connection. Okay, so efficient markup must be used. So as usual, we need to read through the whole question before to spot any things that we know or we do not know, and so that we can mark them out as we go through the question. So let's have a look. Create a folder and then locate the files and place them inside the folder. Okay. Create this web page that looks like this with the number of pixels, the width and the height. Borders must not appear on the final web page. Place a cell, enter some text, choose the right image, and give the right text. Enter some text, set some styling, center align, send an email, and attach the CSS. Style sheet has been given, and then set the style sheet. Take evidence 1. And then we would need to develop a test plan to test the hyperlinks as part of a test strategy. Type your answer, display the web page, screenshot, copy your HTML, evidence 4, 5, and that's a total of 43 marks. Okay, so we have an understanding, like a basic understanding. I think this is quite doable, not too difficult. So let's have a look. So first, create a folder called M16HTML. So we are inside the unzip folder. All right, so we say M16HTML, and the folder is created, and that's done. And then locate the following files and place them in your folder. So all the JPEGs and the CSS. So all the JPEG and the CSS. So take away this. Now I won't move them in because they are the original, so I'll just keep them and put them inside here. Okay, so that's done. So once we are done, we will mark them as done. So here, check and check. Question 1. Create a web page called M16CP-HTM. Web page must work in all browsers, have the following table structures in pixels. Each table is identified with a letter, dimensions in pixels. Letters shown in the table must not appear, and borders must not appear. Okay, so we know that we have to create a HTML file. So here we have our original folder, and this is the folder we have just created. And you click the folder, and what you need to do is to control click, and you can create a new file. So we can call it m16cp.htm as instructed. So here you will notice the Atom will tell you what is the file type. In this case, it is an HTML file. Now once the software knows that it is an HTML file, you can use a lot of time-saving methods or tricks and tips of using Atom, which is what this whole video tutorial series is. So with that, we can just type HTML and you can press tab. So tab completion is something very useful to all programmers. Okay, you can press tab and there you go. This is the basic structure of an HTML file. Okay, and you save that. You see that there's a blue dot. You press Command S and you can save that. Next, we can go to create this table, and the table is contained in the body. So what you want to do is you type table. You can see that once you start typing, the software will suggest what kind of elements that you may use. So in this case, it is table, and you can just press tab again. And again, the structure will be created. You can see the open tag and the close tag. Right? So here, now notice that I also set it such that between the parent and the child elements, I will have a tab. A tab will be of two spaces. You can set it up in the preferences. Maybe I'll just have another video to teach all of you how to use Atom. Okay, let's start. Now let's take a look at the structure of this table. So here you can see that this cell A, right, has, so looking from the top left, cell A will span 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. Okay, 5 rows. And in this case, in this row, okay, if you look left to right where AB is, okay, there are only 2 columns, so A and B. Here in the second row, okay, because cell A is belonging to row 1, therefore row 2 doesn't start with cell A again, because A spans 5 rows. So the second row will start from C and D, and there are 2 columns. So again, E and F, G and H in the 4th row, I and J in the 5th row, and then K, a row by itself, which spans 3 columns. Okay, let's see how we can set it up using code. So then we have table, and then we will have, of course, the table row. Tab, and then okay, in this table row, there are 2 cells. In this cell, first one, okay, and we can say like this. Okay, we can just copy, and we can say that there is a row span. Row span, you can see that it suggests for you of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 row span. And then, although we are not to show ABCD in the final product, what we can do is we can put it here now and remember to remove it later, because then it will be easier for us to see. Okay, and then B has a column span of 2, and we call it 2. So the first row is done. So AB is done, or is it? Well, here you can see that we should really have the dimensions. Okay, I think what I'd like to do is maybe I'll set up the structure first before setting the dimensions. Okay, let's do that. So in the next row, okay, TR tab, table row, is the second row, which is CD. So what you can do is table, and we know that they are the same, so it spans over 1 column, and we are done. Okay, and I think E, F, G, H, and I, J are the same, so we can just copy and say, so that's CD, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, and we can give them names. Of course, C, and then D, E, F, G, H, I, and J. And don't forget row K, which is the table cell, the table data cell, has a column span of 3, and we call it K. All right, so can we see this? Can we see this right now? Perhaps we can. Okay, so what we can do is you can control click, and then copy the full path. So copy the full path. All right, then go to your Chrome. Chrome will be best for this. So here is Chrome, and we can just paste the full path into the browser, and you can see that we have entered for each cell the letters of each cell, and it seems to be correct because A seems to take up like the whole column. But how can we make it easier to know that we are on the right path? Well, what we can do is we can set at table an attribute and set a border of 1, so that we can see whether these letter numbers are spent correctly. Okay, and you refresh this, and you can see that we are right. A spans 5 rows, and B 2 columns, and K 3 columns, and we are right. We can take the look. Okay, so the basic structure is correct. Now what we can do is we can put in the width and the height, okay, for each cell. So let's go back. So 300 by 1000 for A. So let's move to A. So after row span 5, so you can say width equals to 300, and then height equals to 1000. Okay, just to have a look, you can refresh, and you can see that it seems to be right. All right, let's continue. For B, it is, so we can just copy because it's just a number change. Copy, and we can set the width to be 200, and sorry, the width to be 600 and the height to be 200. And then we can see there's a pattern here. It's 300 by 300 for 4 cells and 300 by 100 for 4 cells and K 900 by 80. So what we can do again is we can do the same for this, 300 by 300, and then we can copy. We can go down. D is the same, and then G is the same, and H is the same. Now for E, it's by 100, so we can copy that, and we move down to F and copy that, I copy that, I paste that. And then for column K, it is 80 height and 900 width. So once we've entered, we need to save, of course, right? And then go back to Chrome and we can refresh. And it seems to be right. All right. So one way we can see the full height of what we have done is we can use the zoom in and out function of Chrome. So we can command minus to zoom out. You can see it's now 90%, and now it's 80%, and now it's 75%, and you can see the entire page. So that seems to be right. Let's move on. All right, so this is done. Each cell is identified must not appear. We just need to remember to remove them later. So this is done, and we'll click this, and this is done, and this is done, and this is done. Place in cell A the image M16 logo.jpg. So within cell A, this is where we can remove the letter and put inside the tag image, and the source is M16 logo.jpg. Now, how do we know that the source, the path is correct for the source? Well, that's because we can see that we are in this folder and the logo is here. So the logo is a sibling of the HTML file. So hence, this is a relative path, so it is within the same folder, hence you can not need to include the full path. So this is it. Now, of course, we can always check by refreshing, and this is it, and it seems to be right. Okay, and we seem to have done that, and that's done. Place in cell B the text we design, create, build, and furnish. All right, so one thing we can do is to click this out. Okay, copy this. And in cell B, meaning to say we need to replace this. And notice here it says style H1. So it should be in a style, in the H1 element, and we can just paste the text in. Again, we can check, and this seems to be right. And that is done. Oh, we can need to select this, and this is done, and this is done. Using the most appropriate image from image 1 to 8, so choose the suitable images to put in each of the cell, C, D, G, H. So plot of land, and then so on and so forth, and then appropriate text is displayed if an image is not available. So hence the alternate text, okay, which is here. So make sure, so we can say this is logo, okay, for the alternate text. And for C here, so we delete this and then move it down and then move to image, and let's go have a look. So what do we have? So one is for plot of land for sale. Let's open up all the images. So one is for sale, two seems like a school, yes, a primary school, and then this is the beach, a house, some people working maybe, and this is also some people working, and then this seems like a beach, and then some stones, and that's it. So plot of land for sale seems to be this. So image 1. So we can just click it and then copy the file name, or you can select all, copy the file name, come back here and paste the source. Alright, the relative path into the source. And we can say that this is land for sale in alternate text. And for D, builder making a wall. So we can go back to, okay, so this doesn't look, some workers, but this doesn't seem like a wall, and this seems like a wall. So number 6. So we go back, we go down, okay, copy everything, go back to atom, and take away D. Okay, insert here, image, and then paste the source in. And we can say building a wall. Okay, that seems right. And G, you can see G here, a beachfront cafe. So G, image, a beachfront cafe. Seems to be this one, so 7. You can select all, copy, go back to atom, and paste it in. And we can just say the same, beachfront cafe. And next will be a Portuguese style house. So for H, so again, we insert the image tag, look at the house, it seems like this one, so image 4, go back, select everything, go back to atom, paste it in, and you can say Portuguese with a G, with a U, Portuguese style house. And we save that. So we can always go back to Chrome and refresh, and this is done. Alright, it seems like this is right. Okay, let's go back, and we can say this is done. So this is done. Make sure appropriate text is displayed. So this is done, alternate text as well. And in cell EFIJ, insert this text. So we're gonna select this text and style it as H2. So let's go back. In E, so move down, so set it as H2 and paste it in. And then F, local construction workers. So for F here, and we say it's H2, paste the text, and then I, the beachfront for sale. So I here, set it as H2, paste it in, and the last one, Portuguese house for J. Okay, H2, tab, and then paste it in. So this we can check and refresh, and it is done. We have pasted the text in. Okay, so you can select that this is done and this is done. In cell K, enter the text followed by name, center number, candidate number, and style it as H3. So we can copy this. In K, so go back to K, and enter H3 and paste it. And we are done. We can always check, go back to Chrome and refresh, and the text is here. Okay, center align the table in the browser and save the web page. Center align. So what we can do is we can go here for the border align equals to center with an American spelling. Align center. Okay, go back and refresh, and it is done. Okay, so center align, save the web page. 9. Make the text hothouse design a hyperlink to send an email message. to this location and a subject line. Okay, so what we know is that this should be the hyperlink, hence it should be between the A tag. So what you can do is you can insert the A tag with href and first place the house design within the A tag. And then your href, when you want to send an email link, you would say mail to and then the email address, which in this case we can just copy. So in this case, we can select this and then paste it in. All right. So after the email, what you want to, if you want to include other things like subject, CC, and the rest, and the body, what you can do is you can click question mark and you can enter subject equals to and then your text. So in this case, make me a website. Make me a website. And this, you notice, is enclosed within the quotation mark in href. All right. So in this case, it will take the space. You include the space between make me and A and a website. Right. So it recognizes the space and not escape it. So we can save that. And we can have a look. So refresh, and you can see here this is underlined. All right. So we can close this. And okay, so this is done. 10. Attach the CSS file to the web page. So the CSS is done in the head. So usually it will be put in after the title. So it is the link tag, and you press tab, and then it's a style sheet, and then this is the CSS. So again, where is our CSS file? It is a sibling of the HTML file. So you can just copy and place it within as a relative path. Okay, so you don't need to put the folders or directories. It is a sibling of this same file. Okay, and that's done. Okay, so 10, save the web page, that is done. Your style sheet has been created but needs to be improved using the most efficient syntax. Make sure your style sheet contains no HTML. Okay, so open and examine the style sheet with a suitable software package and then add the following. Okay, H1, H2, H3, and then this, and then this. Add your name, center number as a comment, and then save in the folder. So that's pretty simple. What we can do is we can just double click the style sheet and then a new tab will be open. All right, so I don't like this. So what I often do is I clean up the code. So I like the curly braces with a tab, and then when you press enter, you'll be moved to the next line with a tab as well. Okay, and then we should have a space after a colon. Now all this is really just for myself, for readability. All right, as a programmers, remember the code is not written just for yourself. You usually work in teams, so you should make the code as easily readable as possible for your entire team. Okay, like that. Font size, and then tab. Okay, and that's done. And then this, and like that. Okay, notice that the last item doesn't need to have a closing semicolon. Okay, H2, tab, next line, tab, next line, tab. Okay, 30 pixels, center, normal with break, and then you can take this away. So what you want to do is to include this H1, H2, H3 with this first, trebuchet, and then the MS, and then sans serif, browser default. So what you want to do is H1, H2, H3, and then for this is under font family. Alright, so we have trebuchet, and then because it has a space, you need to have quotation marks, and then the rest is just sans serif. And we can close that. And just for H3, we want to set this as font size point, 24 point font. Now, font size, you can set it as pixels or font or point. Okay, since you are given instructions to be in points, you should put it in points. And then you save that and go back to your browser and refresh. And there you go. You added like some kind of background, and then you change the font and then make it bigger because it is H1, H2, H3. Again, there's a hyperlink, and you can see that at the bottom left, here, you have the email to, and then the subject, and it seems to be right. Okay, and we have done this. I have examined, I've added the following. I have not done this. So add my name, center number, and candidate number as a comment to your style sheet. And I'd like to put this at the top. So Cambridge Prep, and then CP001 and 9999. And you just press Command / and the software will make it into a comment. And then save this. This is done. This is done. And take a screenshot showing the content of your style sheet. Place this in your evidence document as evidence 1. So that's simple. All we need to do is Command-Shift-4, and I will take the name of the software together to the name of the file, and then stretch it down here to show the evidence. Take that, and for that we will need to go to Finder, and it's here. So this is a screenshot. We call it evidence 1. And then we can put it in our evidence folder. So in this case, it's here. And we just drag it in as evidence 1. Okay, and that's done. So we give 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, save that. And then get back to our question. And that is done. 12. The website is tested before it is uploaded to the internet. Describe how you would develop a test plan to test the hyperlinks as part of a test strategy. Type your answer into the evidence document, no more than 100 words. I've prepared something. And for evidence 2, I prepared something. So I'm going to just paste it in for evidence 2 and paste here. So we can make it a little bit bigger. So font size 12 point, and maybe we can use a bullet point. Okay, so we should really identify each hyperlink to be tested. So in this case, we have one hyperlink, which is the mail to, and for each test, identify the expected output, and the test plan contains the actual output. So what this means is that you write down what is expected, or in fact, it should be like this. Okay, identify the expected output, and then when you test, okay, you write down what is the actual output. And if there is something wrong or doesn't go to plan, then you can have a remedial action or retest. Okay, so that's simple. Okay, we save that, and that's done. Alright, so it seems to be evidence is done. Display the web page in your browser. Takes screenshot evidence of the web page in the browser and place this in your evidence document. So go to our browser, and we can take this. Okay, so Command-Shift-4, we will take the whole thing. Since it is the whole browser, we can just take it, and then you can see that this is Chrome, the file name, and then the entire web page, which is center. So this is evidence 3, and we should drag this into evidence 3. Okay, and that is done. Now, notice that we don't like any orphans and widows, so we push that down so that the next evidence is at the top. Okay, and we save this. Next, so this is done. Take a copy of the HTML source and place this in your evidence document. So, meaning we have to copy all the code of the HTML file. So what we need to do is just to Command A, so select all, and then Command C to copy, and then place this in evidence 4. Now this will be very long. Copy and paste. Copy and paste. Okay, so this will take some vertical space, but that's okay. So we save that. And we are done with evidence 4. And question 13, finally, evaluate the web page you have just created and type this in as evidence 5 and save it. Again, I've prepared my notes, and we just select everything, copy, and paste inside evidence 5. Paste, and then we want to move this down as usual, as before. So what are some of the positives? So what's good about this website that we have just coded? Okay, there are, I'm sure, some positives out of it. So it is colorful and this attracts attention. All right, it has some images and some text, and the text is easily readable. However, when I refresh that page, really it just, the web page just jumps out at me. Yes, it attracted my attention, but frankly it really looked like an amateur website. Frankly, it looks horrible, like a web page from 1995, at the start of the internet. So the background image has very strong lines. Okay, so has very strong lines that take away the focus from the main content of the web page, as you can see. All right, very strong lines, and you can't really focus on the main content. The black text on a dark background makes it difficult to read the text. Yes, indeed, you can see that this is difficult to read. The background should really be light colored. Poor choice of colors. Yes, this is very unprofessional. Look at the pink, the green, and the yellows. They just stand out. It catches your eye, but it looks horrible. The images are too small. Yes. So you can see here the images could be much bigger. And you can see here this is the beachfront for sale, this cafe, but yet it's taken so far away that no one can really see what this is about. So not very good photography skills. And the logo text is very garish, you can see here, very bright. So generally, less positives than negatives. All right, so we have done this. So evaluate the web page, and we have typed the evidence in. Okay, and then we need to save our evidence document and save that. No more red dot. Now that should be the end of the task, but there's something that we need to do that I've entered and have not removed yet. So this is in question 1. The letters must not be shown and the table borders must not appear on the final web page. So let's get back to our code. Now we've removed the ABCD or the letters because we have included either text or image there, so that's fine. But we have not removed the border. So if you take a look, you can still fairly see a little bit of the border here. All right, so let's remove that and then save that and then refresh, and there you go. There is no more borders. Okay, no more borders. And with that, I think we have finally completed our entire task. And we can then now move forward to the next task. See you very soon. Task 3, spreadsheet. As usual, this is a new task, and we're going to read the whole question before we attempt any question. So you're going to prepare a spreadsheet model to calculate the travel costs to view a property. All currency values are in Indian rupees to 2 decimal places. Now I think this is important, so we should really highlight this. So 2 decimal places and Indian rupees. Okay, maybe undo and select it again. Yes. Okay, and save that. 14. Create and format a spreadsheet that looks something like this. Notice that row 2 is somewhat hidden. Save this as your name, automated file name, screenshots, 2 new columns. It looks like this. 4 as well. It looks a bit hidden. Some screenshot, enter some formula. Finish the unfinished test plan in your evidence document. Okay, fine. Apply formatting to row 5, save and print. Okay, add this information to the table. Fits single page, visible, and evidence. Okay, seems pretty easy enough. Let's get started. 14. Create a spreadsheet that looks like this. So, as usual, we go to our LibreOffice and File, New Spreadsheet. Okay, and as before, we should always save the spreadsheet before working on it. Okay, so we should File, Save As, and save it in the folder that we are working with. So M16 underscore center number and then candidate number. Save that. Okay, so replace it. I had a similar file name before, and we need to enter this information. So can Salim properties, and then in row 3 property ID, location, price, distance in kilometers, travel, cost. Okay, you notice that there's this red triangle. Now for LibreOffice, as we have seen in Office Base, there is the same similar red triangle. It means that the information in a certain cell or column is too narrow so that it shows that there's more information. Now before we do that, to increase the width of column D, what we need to do is we notice that the text here seems to be bold, so Command B, and it is italic. Okay, and we also know that this seems to be bold, but it is in white text. And before that, we also know that it spreads through till column E, so we need to merge and center. So merge and center pressing here, and I think it's pretty big, so we can increase the font size to say 16. And to change the property, you format the cells, the background to set the color to be black. Click OK, and there you go. And then finally select the column, and then you see when you move your cursor to between the 2 columns, this 2 directional arrow will appear, and you double click that and it will resize itself to the width of the bigger cell. Okay, so it seems correct. It looks quite like that. Okay, maybe a bit bigger, smaller, but okay. And we save that, Command S. So we are done with that. Oh, click this, create, it looks like this, save. Next, place an automated file name which includes the file path on the left in the header. Okay, so what we need to do is to insert header and footer, and here you can see that we can insert left, so header, footer, and there are some information that we could select from. So this is like a quick select, and we could see that our file is here. Okay, it's here. So what we could do is just the file path. So we can click this, and in the header, and we click and see what it looks like. So now we can't see it, but we can always file print or print preview. In this case, print preview. Okay, so it seems to be inserted, but it is in the middle. Seems to be in the middle. So we close that and we try that again. So headers and footers. So notice that this is in the center area and it will center itself. So maybe we can custom position. No, we can't do that. So cancel that. And I think what we want is to select this and cut it and paste it here. See whether it works. So it's here. So left area. So it is customized. All right, and we try that again. Save that and file print preview. And there you go. So it's now left aligned with the full path. Okay, so this seems to be correct. And I think we are done with that. So we check that. Take a screenshot showing A1 to E3 of the spreadsheet, including the row and column headings. Place this in your evidence document. All right. So remember to also make row 2 kind of small, because that is what is required. And we save that, and we can Command Shift 4, take a picture. Again, Command Shift 4, take a picture of the software and the file name, and then we can just take a screenshot like this. Okay, that's good. So put it in as evidence 6. So documents, evidence 6, and we can drag that into evidence 6. So 1, 2, 3. So okay, that's fine. And go back to Finder and insert into evidence 6. And that should be 1, 2, 3 spaces, and we are done. So we are done, including the row and column headings. So row and column headings. Right, so we can see that. Okay, so insert 2 new columns between C and D. Between C and D. So here we can just control, meaning right click, insert columns after, and insert columns after. So between C and D. So, and that new column is area and price per square meter. Okay, and we should make it look like that. Okay, so 4, we're gonna make it a little bit very small, just like 2. Okay, very narrow, and we can spread this a little bit so we can have more space to see. And area, we can double click so that you can resize. So what we can't do this because then it will stretch all the way to the right. Okay, so we take up the width of the bigger cell. So you can see here what the question requires is that there should be wrap text. So what we can do is we can do wrap text. You can see here wrap text, and we want to do this. So okay, so you can see the red arrow coming up. So maybe we can make it smaller first and then wrap it. And sorry, wrap this. Oh, and wrap this. There you go. So price per square meters. So move it a little bit, and then distance in kilometers, maybe like this. Okay, and travel cost to where C is, and then property ID where I is, and the rest seems to be okay. And it seems to be center aligned, so let's make it center aligned. And it has a gray, yes, a gray backing. So we're gonna control click, format cells, and then the background we can choose colors to be a gray. So 20% gray. Click that. And it seems that we are done. So 2 columns. Edit, it looks like that. Take a screenshot showing A1 to G5. So A1 to G5 here. Okay, 5, including row and column headings. Place this in your evidence document. So just like before, we need to save this, Command-Shift-4, and then select up to 5 at least, and then this is the software that we're using. Take that, go to Finder, name it as evidence 7, go to our evidence file here, and drag that down to evidence 7. Evidence 7. Okay, as usual, we should move this down. Okay, evidence 7, and save that. And we are done. In cell E5, enter a formula. So go back to calculate the price per square meter, which is the price divided by the area. So price divided by the area. Use a function to round this value to 0 decimal places. Okay, so price. So let's put in some price. I do not know what the price is. So maybe say 1 million, maybe. I'm not sure what the property prices are in India. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million. So 1 million. Okay, enter that. And you see that it shows the pound or the hex sign. Again, it is a way of the software telling us there's not enough space. So we can always double click that. And price, usually I want to put it as a currency. So is there like conditional? No. So currency. So currency is here. So we can default it to be pound. Okay, set this as pound and spread it. Okay. And it has 2 decimal places. Okay, we remember 2 decimal places. Now for area, I'm not sure, maybe 100 square meters house. And price per square meter should be this divided by this. So C5 divided by D5. Again, we double click to show. Okay, give it some space. Okay, so 10,000 pounds per square meters. And it says 0 decimal places, and we should use a function. So a function is here, as you can see. In this case, to 0 decimal places. So what we can do is, what are the available ones? Okay, so we can look at the function list, functions. So address and synchronous average, I think it should be round, if I'm not wrong. Okay, round, so we scroll down to round. There you go. OPQR. So maybe, so normally if it's 0.5, we round up. So our common practice is round up. So we should do round up. Round up, so the formula should be round up this. And click OK. Okay, so it rounds up, but it displays 0. To round this number to 0 decimal places. Okay. Of course, we can do formatting. For example, here, format as a number. Format as a number. So we can unclick. So we can display numbers to have decimal places or not. So in this case, 0 decimal places, we can reduce any leading zeros, and it should look like this, 10,000 pounds. Okay, so that should work, but we'll see. So save that, and I think we are done. I had a look further into the round up function that we used earlier. Now, according to this question, it says to round this value to 0 decimal place. Now, the round here would mean that it will follow the normal rules of mathematics. For example, if it is a 0.5, you will round up to the next whole number. But if it is less than 0.5, say 0.4, it will not be round up. I also made a, I wouldn't say it's a mistake, but we set the display to have no decimal place. Now, this is having a 0 decimal place doesn't mean that you don't show the decimal. So one is a display issue, one is a round issue. So let's fix that. So first, let me explain a little bit about roundup. Now, roundup means when you have, say, 50.1, all right, this will be rounded up to the next whole number, which is 51. Okay, so this is not the normal sense of mathematics, in the sense that only at the half point, so 0.5, you round up. Less than that, you do not round up. So we're going to fix that by making it round instead of round up. And then the second parameter of the function is to set the number of decimal place. So in this case, we set it at 0, and then we will accept that and check that it is correct. Now, our initial task or the instruction says that we should really set it in 2 decimal places. So in this case, we can set it as, well, we can undo that, but we can format cells, and we can set it as before, where we can set it as 2 decimal places and leave it as that. So that should fix question 17. Let's move on to 18. In cell G5, enter a formula to calculate the total cost to this, the travel cost to this property, and this is 10 rupees plus a certain number or a certain formula. If it is less than 6, it is not less than 6. And then round the travel cost up to the next whole rupee. So round up. Okay, so this is a little bit different. So okay, 6 seems to be the delimiter. So let's set it as some example, some numbers that we can calculate. So let's set it as 5, 6, and 7. And here you could enter equals to 10 plus a condition, because if something happens, it will take a certain formula or a certain number, and if something does not happen, and you will take some other calculation. So in this case, if this cell, the reference cell, is less than 6, then if it is true, so the second parameter is true, then you will add, so it will be 7.5, or if it is not true, it will be the distance, in this case f5 again, multiplied by 1.5. Okay, and let's see. Okay, it's 17.5. Does it make sense? So it is less than 10, and it will be 1.5. Did I make it right? So if is f5 is less than 6, then you'll be 7.5. If not, then you'll be f5 times 1.5. So in this case, it should be 12, no, 17, yeah, that's correct, 17.5. So that makes it correct. And we can just copy this and check. So 6 is not less than 6. So 6 and above, you would apply this formula, the multiplication of 1.5. So you will have 10 plus 6 times 1.5, which is 9. And 9 plus 10 is 19. So this seems right. Okay. And 7 times 1.5 is 10.5 plus 10. So this seems right. Okay. So Indian rupees, and then round up. So now what we can do is we didn't round up. Okay. And so we leave it as that. So we can add in the formula round up this time. So use correctly. Okay. If something happens, it is this. Okay. And we can say, we'll just leave it like that because the rest is display. Round up to the next number, next whole rupee. Next whole rupee. So we will set it as 0 as well. Okay, okay, copy and paste. Pasting that already contained data. So yes. So 19 remains the same because it doesn't round up. 20.5 previously, and this is 17.5 now, so it rounds up. And it says rupee, but we notice that our display is in pounds. So what we can do is we can set the display, so format cells, and we can choose the currency, and we can set it to be in Indian rupees, so in this case INR, English, and we say leading to the next whole rupee. Okay, so again, it's a display issue, so we will still set it as 2 decimal place like this. Okay, so remember, I was saying earlier, one is a round up issue, a whole number issue, and the other one is a display issue. So since our display requires us to show 2 decimal place, we'll leave it like that. And I think we are done for this as well. So 1 and 2. 19. Complete the unfinished test plan in your evidence document. Replace letters A and B with suitable headings. Choose 3 pieces of test data. Step 18. Complete the test table. Take screenshots from your tests and place this in the test plan. Make sure that the test data and results are clearly visible. So let's go to our evidence folder. And question 19 seems to have the test plan. Okay, so we need to fill this up. So let's say the reference cell is F5 maybe, and the formula tested is, we can just copy this, so select all, copy, and the formula is this. So round up plus 10 and so on and so forth, and then we set it to be round up to the next number, not showing the decimal place, but in the end we override that with the display. Okay, so we can cancel that, and so this is done. So the test data is, we'll just copy that, what we have done, 6 and 7. Why it is chosen is less than, obviously is less than 6, is equals to 6, and of course up. So, and it is greater than 6. Okay. And we can click out. Now here, because equals is a formula, we can use the apostrophe, single apostrophe, to show that it is text. Okay, and then we can set it, and then see, we click up. Okay, so it remains as text. So we should save this, and A is expected value. So what you think it is, it may happen before the test, and the actual that you observe. Okay, so since we can expect by using the formula, then the actual value is actually the same. So we're expecting 18.0. So the rest is so this is a rounding issue. We are testing the round up and not the display. So we can leave 18 just like that, 19 and 21. So 18, 19 and 21. Does the formula works? The answer is yes. Copy, yes and yes. Remedial action required, no. Okay, copy, no and no. And we save that. And that seems to be done. Okay, so we've done that. Make sure that the test data and the results are clearly visible. Take screenshots from your test and place this in the test plan. Take screenshots from your tests and place this in the test plan. So we need to place this in the test plan. So we can take a screenshot of this, like that, and we need to place them clearly visible. So we can, will be question 19, and then we're gonna insert it up. Okay, and question 19, and this is the evidence. Okay, the evidence that this has been done. Okay, the distance. Save that, and let's get back to the question. Make sure that the test data and results are clearly visible. So it is visible. 20. Apply appropriate formatting to row 5 of the spreadsheet. Row 5 of the spreadsheet. Okay, so this is row 5. I think. Have we applied it correctly? So it's in 2 decimal places. 100. So let's see. Not this. Go back to the question. And only if it is in rupees to 2 decimal places. Now this is round up. So this is not in rupees. And this is, so price is in currency, and travel cost in currency. So this seems right. So 5 seems to be correct, row 5. And this is done. 21. Save and print the spreadsheet showing the formulae. Make sure it fits in landscape and all cells are fully visible, and make sure our name, center number, and candidate number are fully visible. So first up, perhaps we could enter our header and footer. So we go to our left area. So let's see. So headers is the file path, that's correct. And in the footer, we don't need this. And then on the left, Cambridge Prep CP001 9999 with a space. And we click that and we save. Next, we need to show the formulas. So we need to go to View and then Show Formula. As usual, when you see this, that means the width of the cell is too narrow for the content to show. So we can double click that to show the formula. So we save that. Next, it needs to be in landscape. So what you need to do is to go to Format, Page Style, and then go to Page, and then it's already A4. You choose Landscape. There's one more thing you need to click, which is Formulas. Now let's click the formulas and I can show you. So save that. So when you want to print, as I always prefer for you to print it as PDF before printing in preview. So you want to save this, okay, and you get a preview. So you have your formula, okay, the rest, the price is correct. You have the file path and you have your name, center number, and candidate number. So this seems right. All right, so what if we do not click formula? So we can try that, save, and file, export, and we do that, save that, replace, and you can see that the formulas are not shown. So this is very important. All right, so this, you need to really click this. So okay, and save that, and you want to export, and then you want to replace it. Replace, replace, and you can see that all the things are here. So we have done this. Completed and completed. Let's call it print out 1. So we can say print out 1. Okay. 22. Add the following property to your spreadsheet. So some data to enter. Print showing the value, so this is different, not the formula but the value. Single page and cells visible, and then this is the same. All right, so let's enter some information. So first we want to view the values and not the formula, and we need to enter the information. So in this case we want to make things a little bit having more space. All right, so property ID CP1007, and then location Donna Paula Punjin, give it some space, and the price is, let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 22 million, 22 1 2 3 4 5 6, and the area is 171, and that should automatically calculate, and the distance is 28.1, and we don't need this anymore, and we can delete. So we can give it a little bit more space to expand out. But when we do that, this can be seen. So distance in kilometers. Okay, so 28.1. All right, so this looks to be right, and then we save. So this has been entered, and then we need to file print to have a look. So again, export as PDF. The name, center number, and candidate number should already be there, and we export. So we just call it printout 2 and save. It didn't show. So what happened? Okay, so let's find out. So this is one of the reasons why we should always print to PDF before sending to the printer. You do not want to waste time. You want to see that you are right. Okay, always print to PDF. Okay, so it seems to be right. It's not that there's not enough space. There is enough space. Maybe it's the format. So we go back to page styles, and yes, because this is checked, it will print the formula. And if it's a formula, the width of the cells is not big enough, hence the hex or pound sign. So we save that, and we try again. Save as property, and then print out 2, save, replace, and there you go. So all this should be correct. And then you have your name, and this is all printed. They are all seen. There's no problem. So you can close that. Now, one thing you can do is you can use your calculator to calculate whether the distance is correct. So this is more than 6. So what you need to do is 10.1, which is the value, times 1.5 plus $10, which is 52. And since as long as it is not a whole number, any decimal place that comes after, you will round it up to the next number, which is 53. So this seems to be right. And we have at the following information, we have printed out, and all cells are visible, and the printout has my name, center number, and candidate number. Save and print your evidence document. Printout 3, you have entered your name on your evidence document. So this seems to be done, and let's go to our document, evidence document. So question 19, 16, 14, 13, 12, evidence 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to go through again, 5, 6, and 7. And this is called the test plan. And it seems right, so we can save this. And as usual, you should always export it as PDF before printing. So export, and we call it the same name, and 9999. So notice that all of them are easily visible, and the test plan, and we have saved, and we have printed out, and we have finally completed paper 3 and the entire 2 practical paper 2 and 3. Congratulations, you have reached this far, and I'm sure you will do well in your exam. Good luck, and I hope to see you very soon.